Good morning. We are so glad to be back with you this Monday morning. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Chrys, and we are honored to be a part of your day. But we thank you for joining us and partnering with us in what we call our sisterhood of motherhood. And if you're not a mom, if you're the dad or the uncle or the grandparent out there, we always say something that's important for everybody, we think.
Right.
All right, our topic for today is words and how we use them and how we can use them better and how they benefit us. Sometimes they hurt us, all that kind of thing. So Jenny's got a scripture for us to start our day.
Absolutely. In fact, this is one that we finish every service with at church. It's Psalms 19, verse 14. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be pleasing to you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. That's in the New Living.
Oh, love that. I think is one of the reasons we aren't using our words so properly anymore, because we have to edit ourselves to get on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and that sort of thing. And I find myself even wanting to shorten my conversations when I'm talking to somebody else. I'm like,
you being an
can
editor.
I get that into 120 words or less?
Letters,
whatever.
yeah.
Letters, right. Yeah.
Right. Now, you being an editor by trade as well, you're a teacher by trade, and then you were an editor after that.
So I'm always cutting and splicing and all that kind of thing. But, as we think about words, I mean, Jenny, even for you, did your words ever get you in trouble when you were growing up?
Are you kidding me?
or today even?
Are you kidding
recently?
me? Oh, my word, Margaret.
I know.
Yeah.
We have to be careful.
My focus over the last 10, 15 years has been the power of words and working very hard to breathe life with my words, to speak my words, especially to my children, in ways where you say the same thing, but you can say it in a way that brings life or encouragement. Those have been a very deliberate, intentional. Those have been efforts that I have.
Which is the point of what we're going to talk about today. That's
determination.
Just last week we were with some friends, and the dinner was a buffet style. And one of the kids filled up his plate, and the kid behind him said, "You're not a very healthy eater at all." And the mom just jerked, the kid, and he was so cute. He was like, "Mom, I couldn't help it. My words just came up in my head. I mean, I started saying them before I could even stop them,
How funny.
That's so true, I think, for all of us on some level. I mean, who hasn't done that? And I tell my kids all the time that some words, even most words, are meant to stay right there in your head.
It's the greatest analogy of that to me is the toothpaste. Once you've squeezed it out, it's pretty hard to get any part of it back in there.
Absolutely.
And that's just like our words.
That's exactly it. And then when I think about, a lot of people use the analogy of tools, words being a powerful tool
or weapon,
or being a powerful weapon. And I love that analogy because I think about tools. When I think of a tool, the first thing I think about is like a screwdriver,
right,
or a hammer. I
mean, think of tools, you think of building,
of things that help me to accomplish something that I want to do.
It's a building thing.
And then when I think about weapons, that's danger.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking that, a hammer or a screwdriver can also be a weapon, but it's not something we think about because we don't usually see them in that way. Thank you. We don't want to see them that way.
We don't use them in that manner.
But our words are the same way. They're like a hammer that can be used or misused with how we choose to use them.
And the word is full of scriptures on that. From the same the smallest part of the body is the tongue, and yet such intense things can come from that.
Such power. Absolutely. And you think about when our children are babies and they first utter those first words, which is usually dada or mama, and then we go on from there. And it's all just so sweet. But it doesn't take long for those sweet words to become words that are harsh or unkind. By the time they're, even 4 sometimes.
Well, at 2, they naturally just start doing the no. No.
Absolutely. And that's when the words that we use become weapons. It happens at a young age for us. And so as parents, it is our responsibility to teach our children how to use our words and use words carefully.
I remember Victoria saying at one point, whenever she didn't want to do something, she'd say, "No, ma'am, mommy," because she thought she could say no, mommy, if she threw ma'am in there.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that is a good word, but not effective in this connotation.
But smart of her to think of that.
Oh, yeah.
I know that reminds me of, I remember when John Luke was little. And it was one of those days for Corey where John Luke had said mommy about 10,000 times. You know how that is, And I remember Corey saying, "John Luke, please don't say mommy again for just a little while." And 2 or 3 minutes went by, and he looked up at her and he said, "Corey," like he thought, "Okay, I can change this. I can fix this. I can, I can
obey and still do what I want to do.
I can come up with something else."
That is hysterical.
So as we think back, Jenny and I, sitting in this room, and then you, wherever you are, in the car, the office, or at home, you can think back on the people in your life who made major differences in your life because of harsh words or kind words.
Yes.
For me, my harsh word story came when I was in the 5th grade. I had a teacher who just wasn't a very kind teacher. And I was a very sensitive child, very shy and very sensitive. And she about crushed my spirit that year. But then when I got in high school, I had a precious teacher who came up to me one time and said, "You're going to make the best wife." And it was something I hadn't even really thought about. I think I was in the 9th grade, And so that spoke a good thought into my head for the rest of my, well, I probably had 3 years left till I married Johnny, but
right.
until I was 18.
You went ahead and got married
But
quick.
I took on that role. I guess he really affirmed that in me.
Absolutely.
But, those affirming words that come from teachers or Bible school teachers and preachers and camp leaders and those kind of things literally can change someone's life.
I remember mine was 8th grade. I had a teacher that just, in front of everybody, I was very, very skinny. Very, very skinny. Like for 3 years, I weighed like 8th, 9th, and 10th grade, or 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, I weighed like 86 pounds.
I will testify to that. I was around. Yes, she was.
Very, very skinny.
She and I were both like, the two of us together couldn't make up one person.
Right. It was like, stick your tongue out, you look like a zipper, jump around the shower to get wet. But that's were some of the jokes that they would say. But I was not, developed like other kids in the 8th grade. And she publicly made an observation of that in class, which that is an age that's very...
That's significant. Yes.
But then I think probably the teacher that had the most profound effect on me in the words of encouragement would be when I got to college, I took voice lessons. And she was a teacher that, affirming. I think that's where I've gotten a lot of my...
That's how you do.
Technique
I know.
In
yes.
Just because it's just so positive when I'm working with people, whether it's on a praise team or whether it's teaching, it's just so much more productive.
Right.
To be positive and encouraging and bring out the good things. But it's amazing. It is amazing the power we have.
They've done all those studies that show that when we speak life into people, they live up to that the expectation.
And I don't remember which show, one of our last couple of shows, we did a quote that said, when you bring out the best in others, it allows the best in you to come out. And it's so true.
Absolutely.
It's so true. When you speak life into other people, you begin to breathe life.
Right.
It's just true.
Well, and one of my favorite scriptures about words, and Jenny read one to you at the last break. I love this one. This is Colossians 1:6. Let your conversation be always full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer to everyone. I love that. But then I looked it up in the message too.
Of course.
And so read that one, Jenny.
Use your heads as you live and work among outsiders. Don't miss a trick. Make the most of every opportunity. Be gracious in your speech. The goal is to bring out the best in others in a conversation, not put them down, not cut them out.
Right, and it's gotten to be such a habit for kids today to put down others and cut them out with their words. So, again, this is a huge topic, moms and dads, for us to wake up to, and teachers. Okay, so on this whole conversation about words, I thought this was really interesting. In the English language, it contains over 5,000 words, yet the average person's working vocabulary consists of 2,000 words.
Wow.
That's 0.5% of the entire language that's available to us. Isn't that crazy?
That's why my grandfather used to make us he would give us for Christmas a dictionary, a calendar that you peel off, and every day was a different word that we had to learn and use in a sentence.
See? That's good. I love that. And this article went on to say that for most people, we average 200 to 300 words.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. And then they said, by contrast, John Milton, remember, famous writer,
right,
used about 17,000 words, and Shakespeare used 24,000 words. Wow. 500 of which he only used one time in his writing.
5,000.
5,000, sorry.
Yeah.
5,000 of them.
One time.
That feels like we're just like skimping ourselves by not
Well, we are.
knowing words.
They were writers, and so that was important to them, the use of words. And you know what? It needs to be more important to us.
Well, and you know, I think part of our problem, as we said earlier, goes back to the fact that we are, you know, we're so much in technology.
Yeah,
And
I
we're
see that.
sending, we're sending things as I push my button on my phone. Okay. And we are sending things with short messages and Instagramming and tweeting and all that kind of thing. And so it kind of goes back to a form of laziness, you know, do you think? You know, it's kind of lazy.
I don't know that it's lazy. What I think it's trying to cram too much into, you know, trying to do too much.
Well, and
meaning,
you know,
you're trying to do just as few words as possible so you can get to the next tweet, so you can get to the next text, so you can get to the next thing. I mean, everybody's trying to do too much.
Right.
That's what I think.
This growing trend, we're cutting out more and more words.
Well, we're allowing texting really to take precedence in many ways on many levels.
And so here's another thought I was thinking about as I'm thinking about all these words. Have you ever thought about the fact that the words you attach to an experience become that experience? You know, for example, so I'm shopping and someone comes in and takes the last carton of milk, which milk in our house is a huge item because you've got all these milk drinker grandkids.
A milk drinker too.
I drink milk, you know. So someone comes in, and so I can, you know, it's late at night, it's 9 o'clock, which this happens to me a lot. It's 9 o'clock at night, so they're out of milk at these little convenience stores, you know. So I can say to myself, okay, that makes me furious. I was so ready to get home. I'm going to have to make another stop. I'm so mad.
I can't imagine.
And then
you
the
saying
anger, this is an example.
Okay.
And then the anger becomes my experience. And then the chances are the rest of my night is not good.
Right.
Where if I can just choose my words that I say even to myself more carefully.
Absolutely.
If I say, wow, that's annoying. Okay, I guess I'll stop at CVS. And then the whole tenor of the night changes.
Right.
And how I relate to the kids when I get home and to my husband.
Exactly.
Those sort of things. And so, I mean, I really love this idea and this thinking of that the way we use words in our head about an experience can change that experience.
Absolutely.
Totally.
And I think along with those words have to come the emotion too, because when we allow ourselves to get so wrapped up in the emotion of something instead of going, oh, well, guess I'll just have to go to the next door, you know?
Right. And you probably don't do this. Do you play Words with Friends? I don't do that. That's a new game that everybody's playing, you know, Words with Friends. But sometimes I think we spend more time choosing. I know people who spend more time choosing their words for this game than they do in choosing their words for this game of life.
That
can be so significant
is not a game,
to other people. And in the world of our children, you know, an example might be your child may come in at 9 o'clock, which is their bedtime, and say, I forgot to do my homework. Well, we can do the ranting and raving and I can't believe you did this. You are so lazy. Okay, you know, blah, 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 until everybody goes to bed mad. Well, or you could choose to say, I'm so sorry, sweetie. I guess you'll have to do that on the way to school or see what your teacher says tomorrow. Good night. You know, I mean, it's just how we
choose to approach
change
it.
The experience totally.
Yeah.
So interesting. But anyway, then I came across this blog that has about our choice of words, and it gave a list of words that are not helpful at all to our vocabulary, but we all use them every day. And the more I looked at it, the more I thought, that is just so true. And so I thought it'd be beneficial for all of us, all of you out there, to listen listen to these words and think how often you use them and how you maybe should not use them.
Right.
Good plan?
Oh, yeah.
Good
That's
plan.
what I'm thinking.
So the first word they say is the word try is not effective. It's true. If I say I'm going to try to have it done, I'll try to catch up next Sunday, or I'll try to see, let's try to have lunch. Probably not going to happen, because try is that wishy-washy word that really doesn't make a commitment to anything.
In order to fulfill a commitment, you'd have to try. So it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
That is kind of a way out.
It's a way out. It's that, you know, it's got to be a clear commitment, like I'll have it done, or let's have lunch next Tuesday. Even if you have to cancel.
Or even if you say, I'm working on it.
Right.
That's an active.
But when you say I'm trying, well, you know, how much is that? How
that's
effective
completely
is that?
Open-ended and non-committal.
Right.
Another one that's very, very soft to me is the word wish. I wish I could do this. I wish you were doing this, whatever. Wishing is daydreaming, waiting for the fairy godmother to appear. Wish removes yourself. It removes us from the equation and tells us that we have to rely on the powers that be. Well, if I'm wishing, I'm not relying on God,
Right.
me personally,
Right.
because I know for a fact that God's got my business handled. So I know
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Wish is not a word for me
Right.
at all.
And every wish that we say is, that is like a daydreaming wish. I wish I could get that job. I wish I could go to Disney World. I wish I didn't weigh so much.
I'm determined.
Yeah, you have to be determined.
And intentional.
Right.
And you have to act on that. I hope is a good word, because our hope is in the Lord. I hope. I'm working on this.
Yeah.
This is, in Jesus' name, I'm going to do this. That's speaking it in faith.
Right.
Way more powerful, much more position of strength.
And I know we use the word wish lightly because it's a fun term that's kind of been attached to Disney World and I wish upon a star and that kind of thing. And that kind of thing's okay. But when it becomes part of our vocabulary where we're not actually doing and being and determined to do, then we need to watch that. And another one that I thought I hadn't really thought about it this way is using the phrase, I am. When we say things like, I am angry, or I am depressed, or I am sad, instead of realizing that those type of things, when we attach those to those words, those are emotions that come and go. They don't stick with us. So you could change how you do this. I can't do this today because I'm sad about such and such, and
or
so
say I'm feeling
right,
sad.
or I feel
I'm feeling
angry, and I don't always, I don't
That's a
always like
feeling.
to attach feeling, because I think we need to operate most of our life on what we know, not
Hello.
what we feel.
I mean, but it's better to say
But
that
it's
than
better.
say I am, because you're identifying yourself as that. You're
Right.
speaking that into existence.
And
it's
you
like,
are not an
if
angry
you're feeling
person,
it,
or you're not a depressed person. You might be for that moment, that
Right.
time frame. So,
and your
yeah.
feelings lie to you anyway. But I
Right.
mean,
right,
we're going to get off on a whole nother tangent on that one.
We could.
But those are very real emotions. They are very real. So, I mean, if, just the way that you speak it allows you to keep it concentrated in that one moment,
Right.
in that place.
Right.
And it's not wrong to feel it.
No.
It's what you do with those feelings.
Right. And
that's not good.
and how we speak it determines what we're going to do. Like if we just keep saying to ourselves, I'm depressed, I'm sad. Well, yeah, you will be, and not
Right.
get out of that,
Another one that's commonly misused is if. It always seems to present an element of doubt.
Right.
And doubt and insecurity don't bring you what you want. Certainty and confidence and faith,
Right.
That's not a step of faith. So instead of saying if, simply make it when, or like I said earlier, like I say, in Jesus' name, if this,
Right.
when this happens, whatever. I mean, how many times do we say, if I get the promotion, if the money comes in, or I'll be happy if,
Right.
Whatever. That's just, it's not the best use of your words. When signals that you are serious and committed are, when you are serious and committed,
Right. When you're serious and committed,
then you're going to do things that you're going to speak it a different way.
Speak that, right. Because if is always this if-then thing, which
That-
isn't,
well, yeah,
So,
that's-
but we have a few more of these. Did I say that already?
If then.
Okay, we have a few more of these words that we should try to get out of our vocabulary. These words aren't the position of strength we want to take, or we don't want our children to take.
No, that's what I say to
No.
my kids. Okay, that would not be the strongest position for you to be in
Right.
when they
Right.
want to deflect blame on somebody else, or they want to point to somebody else when they're getting, or not take responsibility for something. Okay, this is not a position of strength for you.
Right. I think that's such a great way to think of that. Good plan, Jenny.
Well,
I love
mean,
that.
It's just like these words. Earlier we spoke of the words, try. Well, I'll try, and I wish, and I am. Like I am upset. I'm angry. I mean, those things. When you say try and wish, it's very soft.
Right.
It's not committal.
There's no
And when you say
position.
I am a certain noun, you're identifying yourself as that.
Right.
When it's more of an adjective,
An
it may be
emotion.
something you're passing through.
Right.
And when you say, well, if this or if then, it's back to wishy-washy.
Right.
It's not decisive. It's not, when is a better thing, and it's not much different, but it's a better way to say that. It's a better way
Right.
to present it.
And as parents, this is how we get this back to our children. They need to see us speaking words that put us in a position of strength through God's
Absolutely.
message to us.
Absolutely, because they're going to get a lot more from what they witness than what we instruct.
Right.
And if we're continually speaking in ways that are, questions or soft, or our tone is, well, you want to, or instead of being decisive,
Right.
then that's how they will act out those very things.
And as we've
They'll have
said,
those same words.
That's right.
The
We've
same
said
wishy-washy.
We've said many times, sorry for stepping over you, but we've said many times that our kids, when they feel a sense of security from their parents, that's going to make secure kids with a good, healthy self-esteem. It's
Right.
not telling them how great they are at every activity they do. That is not the thing. It's them feeling safe and secure in their home environment. And part of that comes with us using words that sound like we know what we're doing.
Exactly.
Through
It's
God's
the same
word.
kind of a
Yeah.
concept as boundaries.
Right.
It's putting strong boundaries on the way that we articulate what we're trying to
Right.
say. And it's not harsh. You're not wanting to be harsh. You're wanting to be decisive.
Right.
You're wanting to be strong. Show a position of strength.
Of strength, of
That's
God's
right. Then they
strength.
know you're in control
That's
and
right.
they're comfortable. Okay, so the next one.
Is should. And that's another word that we misuse. Again, that's a wishy-washy promise word. Like, I should call my mother. I should go visit the nursing home. I should go work out.
Well, those are things that you're saying instead of doing what you really need
Instead
to do.
of doing, you're
Hello,
just
it's cop
saying
out.
that. And you really, when you say it, you know you're never going to do it. I mean, or you would be saying, I'm
Well,
going to the gym, or
the
I'm
sad thing
going to
is-
see. Yeah.
You know you should, and you're showing everybody around you that you're not going to do it. So that's not a position of strength again.
No, again, that's not saying I'm standing firm in my commitment to go visit my mom or work out or do whatever those things are. So should is another word we need to be careful with.
Right. And can't. When we were young, we'd say can't, never, could do anything.
Right, yeah.
Can't is not, I would say to my kids, that's not a Remsberg word.
Right.
Can't.
And it's a word that can be debated, because I can say with utmost confidence, I can't sing as well as Jenny does. And
no, you say I don't.
And someone, well, no, that's a fact. I can't do that. So there's a fine line with our children, teaching them to be realistic. But when it says when you say I can't play the piano, I can't play tennis, more likely they're saying is I've never done that.
Okay, that's what I
haven't
was going to
taken
say.
lessons.
So we're gonna debate this
That's
a minute,
right.
because what can't is saying in that way is I've never. It's because you're not able to at this point, because you've not applied the kind of energy and time and ability.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm not gifted in that way.
No, but I'm saying, when
Right.
if you feel that you're limited in something and you want to do it, then you apply more time
Right.
to it.
And now, yes, I can honestly say I could get better. I could learn to breathe
Right.
better, do those things
and just
about
say
singing.
I don't.
Right.
I don't at this point do
Right.
that well, because I just haven't applied time. I mean, that's taking
That's right.
responsibility
That's exactly
and
right.
not copping out. The
Yeah.
whole point is to help evade those words that are soft words, that are
Right.
not words of strength.
And for
if
my
that makes
own
sense.
grandkids and my own kids, when they say I can't, I always try to say something, well, maybe you can't right now, but have you taken any lessons? Have you tried that? Have you worked on that? And then you can determine, if you take a year of voice and you still can't
Right.
sing, okay, that's not where God gifted you.
Well, and I'll say to my kids, you can't, or it's hard for you. You're having a hard time and you need some help.
Right.
Right. That would be a better way to say that.
Right.
Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, you know what? I only have 15 minutes. This is what I've got to do. I'm going to need some help.
Right.
That's a better way than just saying can't.
Yes.
So, do y'all get that maybe?
Yeah, very good. Yes, I think so. All right.
Okay.
And the next one is the word desperate, because sometimes we use this like I'm desperate for a Coke. And we know that's not really true. We're not desperate, but sometimes we misuse that. I'm desperate for
Definitely.
that job,
That
So
is-
it's a word that's just not an attractive word.
It's just way too
because
powerful.
It's way too powerful.
Way too
For
powerful.
where we sometimes get that. Instead, we can say, wow, I'm ready for a Coke, or I'm ready for
I need
a
a
new
drink
job.
or something. Yeah. The thing is desperate. There are times.
Right.
There are times that certain situations and opportunities for you to be desperate.
Yes. There will be desperate opportunities.
Yes,
that will come your way. So be careful.
Absolutely desperate for God to move on your
Right.
behalf. Desperate.
Right. I'm desperate for God to be in my life.
Yeah,
and
I'm
those,
desperate
you're
to
desperate
be
for those
before
things.
the Lord. Absolutely.
Yes.
And then another one this is another one that I don't care for would be luck.
Right.
You're so lucky. I mean, especially as Christians, luck is nowhere involved in our life. I mean,
No.
God has got us walking according to a sovereign, specific plan. There
Right.
is no luck anywhere involved.
And even when you say that to somebody, like you say, you're so lucky you get to travel with your job. I mean, even if
You're
that person
blessed.
doesn't have a spiritual note in their body, they're thinking, wait, no, because I worked very hard to
Exactly.
get this job. that I travel.
Luck would be
with.
happenstance. It's
Yes.
something that just occurs, that there's no rhyme or reason to it, and that's not accurate.
But we know as people of faith that God has a plan for each of our lives, and His ways are the right ways. And even the last few weeks with some of my grandkids doing different things and not being successful, and the comment I always say to them is, God has a plan.
That's right.
And that was not in His plan.
That's right.
For you.
That's exactly
so wow,
right.
how fun it's going to be to find out what is in God's
exactly
plan
right.
for you.
Exactly right.
So those are the words that
it looks like we might be moving to another show with some of this, because we still have so much great stuff.
Yeah, this is kind of a two-parter with the words and how we use our words.
A great series to talk about.
Right.
There's so much.
That's right. Next week we're going to talk a little bit more about words and how those words of gratitude can just change anything, a day, a meeting,
and it's got to start with
everything.
us,
That's
the
right.
adults. It has to start with the adults for our children to begin to emulate that and walk that out. That's exciting stuff to know that we have that kind of power just through the words of our mouth.
And we know from Scripture that this tongue is a very powerful tool.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely. The Proverbs are full of verses, of thoughts on the power of the tongue. Just one in Proverbs 16:24 says, "Pleasant words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body." So today we want to encourage all of you to speak words of kindness and encouragement, words that are uplifting, to be that sweet honeycomb that will be health to our bodies.
Which is one of the ways we always end our show. We
That's
always
right.
say, don't give up. God's given you this very important job and you can do it. Wake up every morning and thank God that you're the mom of your family.
Absolutely. And speak life into our children's hearts every day. Use words that build them up and bring them closer to God.
And then remember to be consistent. Whatever you start, consistently do that in your children's life. They thrive on consistency.
Absolutely. And remember, consistent does not mean boring. So have fun with your kids.